Welcome, everyone, to episode 56 of Wars in the Stars. Today, there's no Disney Plus shows or movies to preview. So
I'm a
today,
I'm a third DeLorean. I'm a third of a. I'm sorry, I just
Al,
hit my mic. I'm so
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, look, I'm a third DeLorean.
Are you making Din's helmet?
Yeah, I already have one, but I'm printing my own now,
I like
and
the start of it. It looks very nice.
you might be able to hear it because of how loud it's gonna get. But I'm printing the dome part of it right now.
Yeah,
I
that's
could have
very
printed
nice.
it all in one shot, but it would have taken 3 days, and I don't have the ability to listen to that thing for 3 days straight.
Yeah, I don't think your family wants to hear it, or maybe they don't mind. I don't know.
They don't care.
So yeah, today. First off, Alex, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing fine. Ohio's having their mask mandate lowered again. So now everything is optional. It's going to be optional at my school. It's going to be optional at my job.
Are you gonna wear
Um,
it?
at school, yes. At work, no.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I don't know what my state's gonna do. I don't know. It's always been up kind of to the districts. There's never been a state mandate. I don't believe there's a city mandate. But we'll see. We're going into you don't have do you have February break in Ohio or is it spring break that you have
We
in
have
March?
spring break, which is at the end of March now.
Right. Yeah. So we have February and April break, which is nice. But so we have February
That's
break
sweet.
next week. Well, you start
Ooh,
earlier than us, so you get out earlier. But um yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I've had a good week.
me too.
A lot of interesting stuff. The Super Bowl, obviously, I wasn't watching for the Super Bowl itself, but I guess we could first talk about. I guess people were upset that there wasn't a Kenobi trailer. Like,
Yeah, man.
I
Temper your
wasn't surprised.
expectations properly.
I wasn't surprised. First off, I know that Lucasfilm sucks at marketing, so there's one thing.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl was up 8%. 112 million people watched the Super Bowl, and they're like, we won't market, because they don't learn their lessons. Marvel killed it. Marvel
Yeah.
always kills it.
Of
Um,
course.
somebody put it perfectly, like, man, if you're just a Star Wars fan, become an MCU fan at this point as well. Like,
Yeah.
you got to do it. Like, you can't just that's. And we'll also talk about the fact I think a little bit later that the Book of Boba Fett finale was 36% higher than The Mandalorian. We'll
Yeah.
talk about what that means. And yeah, but yeah, let's get right into it. Alex, I want you to kind of lead this conversation. So, just for some background, I guess, for me personally, Rebels was a weird time for me as a Star Wars fan. I was younger still, but like Clone Wars was my thing. So when it was canceled, I was like, nah, I'm not watching this. I did watch it, but I wasn't into it like I was Clone Wars. Clone Wars, I was up every Friday night when it would come out. Sometimes it was Friday night, and then for a little bit, I think it was Saturday morning on Cartoon Network. And then I'm like Rebels, man. It was on Disney XD at like 9 o'clock
Mm.
at night sometimes, and then they had they had a weird schedule going on there. But
Yeah.
it wasn't my type of show. It wasn't my cup of tea. And I really only cared about the episodes that had my characters, Clone Wars characters that I resonated with. So a weird relationship. I did watch the whole show. So this is like my second really full rewatch, and I will say before I get into it, especially season two. I'm 4 episodes into season two. I really enjoy season two a lot. But for the sake of today's discussion, season one pretty soft. Like I put it around where the Bad Batch was. Like honestly, I do. I think it has kind of the same problems.
What?
I think it has the same
No.
problems the Bad Batch has. Yes, Alex.
No.
I'll explain it later. I'll explain it later, but it has the same problems the Bad Batch has.
No. I absolutely disagree. I think
You're
my
biased.
biggest
You're biased.
no
I admit it. I'm
no. I'll
biased.
say
You're
this.
biased.
I'll say this. The thing with the Bad Batch, bro, is you could easily take so many of those episodes out. Who cares? I mean, you could honestly throw the whole show away, and who would care? Um, with Rebels, though, the storytelling, I'm sorry, but compared to Clone Wars, as someone who grew up around the same time as, we're only like a year apart.
Right.
Clone Wars
But
was
it's weird
huge
though.
for us.
It's weird though, because like I don't know if you didn't. I don't know. Did you watch Clone Wars right from the start, or
Yeah, 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 yeah.
just didn't
Right
hit
from
for
the
you?
no, it didn't not hit. It hit, but like Rebels just hit harder. I mean,
I just don't feel that way. It's weird. I just don't.
the
With a
problem
couple
was when I
with
was
one
younger, I
specific
didn't.
character, one
Oh,
specific character it does.
okay. I think I know who, but
Who?
I was gonna say Kanan or Ezra.
It's absolutely Kanan. Like I've
Yes.
got to be honest with you, and we'll get into it now. Kanan is the hunter of the show. Ezra is just a more competent Omega. Like that's how I feel with the show.
No,
Yeah, that's how I
absolutely
feel with the
not.
show. I feel like just with the first season, I feel like it's sure. I like developing the master and apprentice relationship. Like I'm looking at the episode titles now because I don't know them out of like the top of my head. Path of the Jedi, I love. Breaking Ranks, I love. I like the season finale a lot. A lot. Empire Day, I think, is pretty solid. The stuff with Tezebo is good. Um, Spark of the Rebellion, I like. I like Ezra and Kanan in this first season. What is Sabine? What is Sabine at this point in the first season? She's just like Echo, bro.
Yeah.
She's just a mechanic who wears Mandalorian armor.
Yeah, and again, I think my problem with the show is that in the first few seasons, or in the first season, sorry, we don't really get much with the other characters. We got one episode with Sabine and Hera on the on an axis, which
Right.
fine, but we didn't get anything with Zeb. I mean, we got the Mei Run episode, but like, do we count that?
Nah.
No, because it wasn't a good episode. But I think this. I think from a story perspective, and I'm going to talk about whole show right now, but I'm going to even talk about season one specifically as well. I think the story of it is so much just better than both Clone Wars' first season and The Bad Batch. The Bad Batch is just nowhere near comparable to Rebels' first season. Nowhere near it. The only real comparison that I would give you is the Sabine and Zeb and maybe Hera, because
No,
Hera
I
is
like Hera.
very
I like Hera in the
Hera,
first
yeah,
season.
Hera is very fleshed out in this first season. But like with Tech and Echo compared to Sabine and Zeb, I could get behind that because they really don't do that much until season two. So I get that. But on a story perspective, on a character perspective, on a villain perspective, on a finale perspective, on a mid-season, on just everything, Rebels is just easily better. Now, can you again? Are there some things that I do think Bad Batch does better? Yes. And the first thing, and it's probably going to be my biggest gripe with Rebels, is its animation style. As someone who's a huge Rebels fan, I don't like how the animation style looks. Now, once you get past it, you don't care anymore. But could you imagine the show in the Clone Wars' animation style?
Like today, what it is
To
today.
like 2022 or 21 animation style, that should be crazy.
I think it
Especially
fits
with
the show, though. I think it
yeah,
works for the show.
yeah.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
just
Like it works for the show.
yeah, it's just I did notice something when doing the rewatch is how in the first episode Kanan's lightsaber's blade is actually a thick blade, and then from that point to the literal end of the show, they're all like
Skinny. I wonder if they
this
toyed with
thin.
it. I wonder if they toyed with the idea of making it Clone Wars
Yeah.
animation, and
Well,
then they
yeah.
made the decision. I don't know if Dave talked about it. Did anybody talk about that you know of? I
I'm
don't.
not 1,000 on that, but I'm almost certain like because this show is very clearly based off of Ralph McQuarrie
Yeah, 100%.
inspiration. You can just see it throughout the show.
We
Vader's
could see it with
look,
Vader's mask. Yeah, Vader's
yeah,
mask itself is very Ralph McQuarrie. Yeah,
yeah. And again, the show also is very original trilogy inspired.
yeah,
The thin lightsaber blades are inspired from A New Hope. Uh, and so you notice that, and I really like that because with Clone Wars, it felt very Revenge of the Sith, like it was trying to be not Revenge of the Sith, but it was trying to fit into it. This
right.
very much felt like it was inspired by, but was still trying to do its own thing.
Okay. Yeah.
I will say my biggest problem with like how the characters look is I have a very hard time telling like with Kanan and Ezra, is Kanan white? Like what is his ethnicity if we were to put this in modern terms? Because he
Well,
looks
they're
from
all
shot to shot, his skin looks like standard like Caucasian white. It looks like there's an orange tint at points. It's like
well,
really weird.
yeah. So I mean, at least for their live action counterparts, so they all want. The rumor was they all wanted them to be people of color. So I'm gonna go that they're all intended to be people of color.
Mm,
It's just the animation stuff, like with the Bad Batch. Sometimes I guess I know people complain that they looked a little pale, looked a little white. Um, Maybe it's an animation thing, but I think they're intended to be people of color, or at least
yeah,
that's how they're casting them in live action. I don't know though.
yeah.
I don't know what the intention was. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah,
Um,
but yeah, I just to me, Rebels is what I is in my opinion when Rebels is good, I think it's on par or even better than some of the best of the Clone Wars. And I think some of that best stuff that we get, yes, isn't told the later seasons, like end of season 2, middle of season 3, even the middle of season 4. But this stuff, like Path of the Jedi, in the whole final 3 finale arc, um, it's just so good. I think it's some of the best Star Wars we get. Um, at least if you wanna categorize it by Disney Star Wars. But even then, I think this is just some of the best Star Wars we get. There, for me personally, and yes, maybe I am biased towards the show. In my opinion, there's just not a whole lot negative about this first season. There are some glaring problems, i.e., 2 specific episodes. Um, that's really it for me.
idiots, goddamn array.
It's such a bad episode. It gets worse every rewatch.
Alex and I we watched a couple together, and that was what that we rewatched. And I distinctly remember just one scene with the puffer pig. They are fighting. Uh, I can't even remember his name. What's the red fat dude?
As Morgan.
As Morgan, and the friggin' puffer pig blows up, and I just see
Mm.
Sabine jump off at it, and I'm like, what am I watching right now? I see a puffer pig blow up. Ezra gets squished. Lando, this is like the worst iteration of Lando I've ever seen. It's not out of character, but it's like it's dumb. As
Mm.
Morgan is the second worst Star Wars character behind
No,
Day One Awanga.
no, no,
He is as bad as almost as bad as Bib Fortuna. Fortuna,
no.
Fortuna. Yeah,
He's
he
so
is.
good. He's so funny.
I will say when Hondo shows up, is that season 2? Doesn't he
Yeah,
make like a mom joke or something like that? That's pretty funny.
I think so.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, but as no, I do not want to see that character again. I know I have to see him again in my season 2 rewatch, but no, he's
Mm,
just a Jabba the Hutt that can walk. That's literally his character.
I
Sorry.
love him. But yeah, it's just
And
I don't
goddamn
know.
fruit, goddamn fruit, dude.
The
I literally
goddamn
saw
fruit
a
episode.
stormtrooper uh, had fruit like thrown at him. It hit him, hit like he hit his blaster or something, and then shot one of his own guys. And I literally said, "What
Hmm.
am I watching? What am I watching?"
And
Listen, I know,
that's stormtroopers for you.
and that's another problem I want to go into. The show, the first season has too many villains.
You think so? I actually feel that way about season 2.
Now, here's my thing. When I not by the way, I will say I even still today I get an emotional reaction to the last episode, the end. We go from seeing Fulcrum, Ahsoka, right? That build
Hmm.
up Dave had, and I really love that build up with Fulcrum. And then you get Vader coming in, and it's like, oh shit. But my thing is when you get to Vader, you can't go any higher. And I'm at the point now in season 2. I'm on season 2, episode 5. I know I'm going into season 2, but then they bring in another Inquisitor. I'm like, but didn't we just have
Hmm.
the Grand Inquisitor himself and then Vader? You can't do that because now we're lower in the villains. And by the way, I enjoy the Grand Inquisitor. I think he should have been a 2 season thing, maybe. I don't think we get enough of him, in my opinion.
Mm.
Um, and I like Callus. But it feels like sometimes the Empire is too incompetent almost.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel
I
that it.
yeah. I get that. But I think my thing is that we really even the movies we see they are highly incompetent. Again, let's not forget the Empire was taken down by a bunch of teddy bears, so we can't
Don't
really
mess with
put
those
the
Ewoks, bro. Don't
we
disrespect
can't
those
really
Ewoks.
no we can't really put the
Nah,
the
do
Empire is
not
very
disrespect with the damn
competent on
Ewoks,
them.
bro. No,
No, we cannot put the Empire is very competent, because we've shown that they clearly are not. Uh,
right. I mean, they even brought in
so
Tarkin, and Tarkin's Star Destroyer gets destroyed, bro, by
mhm.
6 people. Like, it's
We
like,
got to take into account it's two Jedi, and there's not another. The Invader's not on board, so it's like, and we. I say we. This episode showed us our second most powerful time we've seen Kanan until season 4, because that man went off in this season with his Force powers.
yeah, he was really, and I want to say a couple of moments I really love, and he's really become one of my favorite characters because, uh, his tie to the old war. He's very unorthodox. I kind of like that what they did with him. Like he uses a blaster. And we talked a little bit about it, but like him and Ezra's relationship is like master and apprentice, but it's also like Kanan being the really older brother and Ezra being the really younger brother.
Mm.
When they're having their banter moments, but Kanan when he comes out with the lightsaber is such a good moment. Um,
Chills, chills. I'm getting chills thinking
such a
about it
good
right now.
moment. Um, and he's another one of those Jedi. Like I'm not saying he is a Qui Gon, but he's just unorthodox. It's nice to see something
Yeah.
that's different from the conventional Jedi Order. When he talks to Yoda, like I don't know if I'm ready for this. Like now I'm starting to see why Depa Palaba blah blah blah. Was so worried about me and the Order.
Hmm.
Um, and how he almost like he doesn't resent the code, but he also at the same time bends the code to
Yeah.
help out Ezra because there's nobody to punish him. So like he's got to make it his own way.
Yeah. And again, I think we talked about it when we were watching the episodes that it feels like when they're bantering, it feels like younger brother, older brother bantering, but you can clearly tell Kanan is the father figure to Ezra.
Right.
Um, it's just like it's really weird because again, he's like, kid, sometimes I worry about you. It's just like, oh my gosh. Um,
I also love the
yeah,
moments where he's like, I hate it when he's right.
yeah. Yeah, I love them. How can you not like Ezra and Kanan? I think
Yeah.
if you don't like them, I think you have something wrong with you. I'm
They're a
sorry.
dynamic duo, bro. And, like Kanan's been always like I didn't even love Rebels, but his death hits different, bro. I can't
It
lie. His death
does.
is
It's one
looks
of
like the
those
best.
things. It's one of those things. Yeah, when we get to season 4, we'll talk about it. It's one of those things, dude, that you're just like you see coming throughout the episode, but when it happens, you're just like
Well, I
your
knew from the
jaw
beginning of the
drop.
show, but I didn't. I mean,
Oh
I
yeah,
knew I knew they were cooked. Um, and I will say, this show does a similar thing with, and it's not as bad as the Bad Batch, or maybe I'm more cognitively aware of it. But the Bad Batch basically was, and I don't mean to shit on that show. I kind of like some of the episodes. Alex hates it. Um, it's kind of like, oh, Omega is competent, but at the same time needs saving all the time. With
yeah,
this, it's kind of different. It's like Caden's the pessimist, while Ezra's like, oh, we could do this. We could take down the Empire. Like Caden's actually has a brain. It's like, do not see the Imperial complex right there. Um,
hmm,
but yeah, that stuff's fine. That's it's just a kid show. But to go back to the villain thing, I like the Grand Inquisitor. Um, he's really cool. He's a real menace, but he only wins once.
yeah.
He only wins once, and I don't like his death. Like, and if he's
I
gonna be a
do.
Kenobi, well, no,
I,
his line. There are some things more frightening than death. Um,
I love I love him in the final episode. I love how he really gets into Kanan's mind about, oh, what were your master's last words to you before she died? And it's like,
right.
oh, and then of course when we see it in Bad Batch and it like reinforces it and whatnot. There you go, Bad Batch. There's some praises for you. Um,
with an adult Kanan voice as a 10-year-old.
Yes, I know. Um, yeah, it's just for me
Master, I
personally.
need to go to the woods.
I know. For me personally, I love the Grand Inquisitor, and I was happy that he stayed around for one more, or for only one season. I don't like that they replaced him with two very, very incompetent Inquisitors. Like if you think the Empire has shown us incompetent in this season, just wait until you find those two. It's like, or I'm sorry, three, because we find three in that season.
Right,
Um, yeah, I would say that's probably Rebels' biggest problem is until Thrawn, there's a serious villain problem of
right,
they don't know who to treat as a main villain.
right.
Because for a lot of the show, or some of it, we're seeing that Callus is supposed to be feared, but then that man gets dogged on every time he's on screen.
Yes.
And then when the Grand Inquisitor is on screen,
And
it's like,
he's an
oh,
awful
now we actually
tactician. He's an awful tactician. Just
awful, awful. No wonder he defects. He's like, shit. I'm like shit at this job. I should just defect while I'm
right.
at it. Um, yeah, I was happy that they only kept him to one season. And you brought something up with Kenobi. I think that they just shouldn't bring him in as a character because
Yeah.
I think you dampen Rebels by bringing him in. Not
Right. Because
because oh, he should only stay to live action
well, I
or
don't
to
know if he's
animated.
gonna fight Obi-Wan, but if he fights Obi-Wan, like he should get wiped. Then, like he should get
Yes.
wiped by Obi-Wan. He got wiped by Kanan.
Yes. A far less powerful Jedi.
Unless he was a Trine or something. I don't know. But the other thing is like they also didn't know how to use Vader. Because because here's the thing, Alex. Like they brought in Vader, and I know this is season 2, and Vader like basically almost kills them within seconds. Like he's gonna kill Ezra with his own lightsaber. That's how badass this dude is. Um, so like you can't use Vader as the main villain because they'd be dead. You can't just have him running away from Vader the
Yeah,
whole time.
but my thing is this is Vader isn't chasing them down. You can see that he's clearly plotting a lot of this out. And again, I know we're mostly talking about season 2, but it's like you said, we can't have Vader as the main villain until season 2, when number one, not only do we have an establishment between Ezra and Kanan that they are competent Jedi, but until we have that third factor in Ahsoka.
Right.
And that's why when Ahsoka leaves the show, Vader leaves the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of those things that we see Vader when he's brought in as like, oh,
Take care of business. Do your job.
yeah, he's there to take care of business.
And he
And we see
does.
Vader
Like
show
he
up,
does.
and he does, and we see in the season 2 premiere, he wipes the floor with Kanan and Ezra, and then in the season 2 finale, he like it's like not even a fair fight against Ezra.
No.
Um, so in that respect,
And he was
you
gonna
have to
kill
take in
Ahsoka.
yeah, you have to take in that Vader in the show was never meant to be the main villain for Ezra and
No.
Kanan. He was always meant to be the main villain for Ahsoka.
Right.
And I
That's right.
think and I think you said this around one of the first times we first talked about Star Wars Rebels is this show kind of in a sense kind of depends on the Clone Wars. If you didn't watch the Clone Wars, you're not going to know who Ahsoka is, so you're not going to give a shit about her relationship to Vader. If you
Right.
didn't watch Clone Wars, there's like a whole like 2 or 3 episode arc in season 2 that you're not going to give a shit about because you don't know who those clones are.
Right. Right.
And
Absolutely.
I will say that is one of the big problems of the show. That if you didn't watch Clone Wars, well, then you're going to be fucking clueless for season 2 because it depends on the Clone Wars.
Well, you could kind of gather that, like, Fulcrum, like Ahsoka, you could kind of gather that she's another Jedi, but, like, also they don't give a lot about her right away, so it kind of
Mm,
depends. And then it's Rex, Wolf, and Gregor, and you'd be like, oh, old geezers in the middle of the desert. Who are these
mm,
guys? It's just like
yeah.
you'd be really confused. But
And
I, yeah,
another weird thing I had with season 1 was Fulcrum, was the whole Fulcrum thing. Because around the time when Kanan gets captured, Ahsoka's kind of like, yeah, you kind of just got to let him go. Oh well.
yeah, really
Because
weird. That was never
it
Ahsoka.
feels it feels such a character shift from season 2 when she's or from season 7 of the Clone Wars if you're going from that to this where you're just like that woman was willing to tell Rex to put your blasters on stun, we're not going to kill any of these people anymore,
Right.
and then you're just like, oh sorry, Kanan's got to die.
for this say and then helps him and then goes in and like goes to Mustafar out of all places. Now I don't know, like I doubt she knows Vader's. She definitely doesn't know Vader's castle's there, but like
No.
one of the worst tactitional. Just I don't know. Like for me personally, Governor Price is alluded to. We don't see her until season 2. Is it
3.
3? This is the minister who gets blown
2
up.
up. Yeah.
Yep. Callus, I like, but like, there's really only one thing. Like, and they kind of allude to it. Like, he killed. He killed. Is it the Lasat, right? Lasat people.
Yeah. He killed the. We're told he kills all or the remaining Lasat.
Right. And he has the staff, right, that Zeb has. And that basically. That's a setup. Is that a season 2 episode where they're on the moon?
Yeah.
Geonosis?
The honorable ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a good episode. But
Yes.
we have that, and then the Grand Inquisitor, he's in probably 5,
Probably about,
6,
yeah.
7.
Probably about 7 episodes of the 15.
And I will say, I love the Luminara thing, because I remember when I
Yes.
first watched it, I'm like, oh shit, Luminara is still alive in the. Huh? I still don't know what happened to this day.
So she died, and then they used her body as a way to lure in other Jedi.
So how was she out and then walk back in? How does that work?
I think it's a projection or something.
Really?
I don't know the full details.
Because
Yeah,
it's
she
really
was
trippy.
because she was tried and then she was executed. So
Oh, so they didn't. She didn't get killed by clones. She got captured.
no, yeah, she was captured and then she was executed.
Well, I didn't like her anyways. Bad Jedi.
No, she was a great Jedi. She was just a very flawed person.
Oh, true. Alex, you got anything else for season 1?
Oh yeah, I got a whole bunch for season 1.
Well, I kind of wanted to get into Multiverse of Madness, but let's keep going.
No, this is not the Multiverse of Madness show.
No.
Dude, that entire finale arc was just amazing.
Yeah, the speech is fantastic, and I also love
Yes.
that scene with Tarkin, where they blow the tower up, and he just walks away, and that's another thing. They bring in Tarkin too, like just holy shit, and then Tarkin's an idiot too. It's like what? It's also kind of funny that like they did the meme. He actually abandoned ship,
Mm,
in the
yeah.
show.
Yeah. I love it all. I love that I love that we see how good of a fighter Kanan really is. And also, you got to give props where props are due, no pun intended, but Ezra's lightsaber is
I love that.
just so creative. Such a good idea.
And
And of
Kanan
course
even alludes to it. He's like, well, out of all the Jedi, you would do something like this or something like that. He says something along
yeah.
those lines about
Yeah,
how
he
creative
calls it
it was.
unique, but that's okay
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I also really, really like
By the
and
way,
then
I know I'm
yeah.
going on a side tangent here, but I ship Ezra and Sabine. I don't know about you.
It's so weird because in season 1 they totally set it up that they're gonna date, and then in season 2 onward they're just like, they're just brother and sister now. So weird.
I'm totally an Ezra and Sabine shipper, bro.
I know, but it's like, come on now. We know the best ship of the show is Hera and Kanan.
Do not even mention Jason. Don't even mention Jason.
No, we don't talk about Jason, but we talk about Hera and Kanan. And we talk about how just amazing they are together.
I'm just imagining the picture in my head of the Rebels epilogue with a kid
Yeah.
with green eyebrows and fucking hair.
Look,
I don't know why he looks
I
like
don't care
that.
what you say. I don't care what you say about Clone Wars or anything. I think Rebels has by far the best chemistry between the main cast.
Oh, absolutely.
The chemistry, just the lines, they bounce off of each other like it's nothing. And it's amazing. Absolutely. It's like the acting of the show is just so great. But I think another thing we have to talk about, and we made so many comments about it, especially during Path of the Jedi, the faces of the show and the close-ups Not right. Absolute violations, especially from the Grand Inquisitor. They're just not. That's just not right. That's just not okay.
Their eyes
Just
were so open.
just just whenever they get up close, you're just they just they widen so big. You're just like, oh my gosh, blink. That's all I want to see you do is blink.
Ezra would get scared.
Ah,
And it's like a weird close-up shot they'll do. Like, oh,
I know. It's so funny.
or when
Um,
they're fighting, or you see their facial expressions while
yeah,
fighting, and it's I'm laughing like,
yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things that I honestly also think, along with Clone Wars, this show is incredibly deep for being a kids show, especially
yeah.
around things like season 3 and 4. But season
Well,
1 also has some great moments during it.
well, my thing with this, Alex, and George talks about it. Kids are intelligent. They can pick up
Yeah,
on stuff. They're not dummies. Like when people say, "Oh, they complain about Star Wars being for kids." Like, well, of course it's for kids, but just because they're kids doesn't mean they can't have adult themes that they can learn about.
yeah,
Um, like very valuable lessons. Like this show teaches you about family, teaches you about uh not losing hope, right? Very the big message in this is hope. Hera talks about it a lot. We are hope. Like we can't
mhm.
let down. We can't let our guard down. I want to get into another problem with this show. God damn it, I have to open up on a TIE fighter fight every single episode. Like,
Yeah.
and I also
Eh,
think like I know Lethal's a big planet, but I also think maybe the show is a little too Lethal centric for the first season,
yeah, I mean, you got to think it is literally the entire objective from season 1 to 4 to free Lothal. But I
which I
think we
like.
also, yeah, which we also got to remember who the main character of the show is
Right.
Ezra, and he is from Lothal. That's where the team meets him. It's on Lothal. That's where a
Which, by
lot
the
of the
way, some
missions.
beautiful shots. Oh, some
Yes.
beautiful shots. The Imperial Center when the Star Destroyers are
Mm,
over it, just the
yes.
architecture of the city itself. I really think we could see a live action version of it in the
Yeah.
Filoni verse. Why wouldn't Dave put Lethal in? Like, he loves that thing.
I don't know. Especially because there's like Loth Wolves there
Well,
too.
the Ahsoka logo is not the world between worlds, it's the reigns that we see
Hmm.
in the Lothal Temple.
Yeah. Which is just another thing, dude. Like we have to highlight a certain episode, and that is Path of the Jedi.
So good.
Such a good episode. I think it is some of the top 10 like parts of Star Wars. Um, it is just it's just amazing. You know, it's one of those things that it's just like, action wise, it does a fair bit. There's the fake Inquisitor versus Kanan fight. Cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool, good fight, whatever. Funny facial reactions.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but just all of it. We see Ezra's true insecurities of him not being good enough to save Kanan, of him being afraid that people on his team don't like him, and that they're only
Yeah.
just giving him self pity and whatnot. It's really good stuff, and I just really love it all. I also love some of the jokes in the episode, like when Ezra's like, "What am I looking for?" and Kanan's like, "You're looking for nothing and everything,"
Right.
and
And
he's just
Kanan
like, "What
at
does
this
that mean?"
Yeah, and then Kanan at the same time is looking around like, hurry up," because
Yeah,
you just see a bunch of dead masters next to him that just sat there probably for like 60 years.
yeah. It's also one of
Like,
those things that's like no pressure. We're just surrounded by all the masters of whose apprentices failed to complete their trial here, and they
right.
died here because of it.
Yeah. By the way, that's terrible.
I
Imagine just
know.
imagine just sitting there for like ever and not being able to do a thing.
I know. Is it?
Which, by
I
the way, how
just.
crazy did those dreams get, bro? Like Ezra's was crazy enough. The dude like fell.
I
Like
know.
he was on the ghost then, and then just like, bro, imagine if you had the force and you were to have these visions and you were
Mhm.
literally like falling through the sky, you were on like a ship, and then you saw a dude with a lightsaber hunting you. I would want to
Yeah.
say, if there's any way possible, take all my blood out. I know I will die, but take all my blood out because at least my midichlorians will be gone. Do that.
Yeah. It's another thing for me is the training of Ezra in this season is so good. I absolutely love it. I love his it's his unfortunate dark side connection that only lasts until season 3 and then kind of goes away towards the end. Um, I just the training, like when they're on top of the ghost and Chopper knocks him off. Um, and we see how, even Kanan, he's not that powerful. He struggles to lift Ezra up.
Right, which I really enjoy that because you can't. I really enjoy that they don't make like him just an overpowered Jedi. He
Yeah,
struggles still. I really enjoy that.
yeah. It's again, I also I love some of the stuff like when they're fighting as Morgan and Ezra goes to shoot his lightsaber for the first time, and Kanan's like really trying to reinforce, like, oh, no lightsabers, no lightsabers. And then, like, again, I just love his little stapler gun that he has. I
Yeah,
love it.
I like it too.
I wish I could make that prop like a real thing out and whatnot, and I had it shoot staples. Because, like, again, that's exactly what that thing is like based off of. So
My final thoughts, I guess, on season 1 because I got a lot to say about the Multiverse of Madness thing. I enjoyed it overall. I'd probably give it a 7, 7.5. Really solid. I think it has a slight villain problem. Maybe stays on Lothal a little too long. Doesn't develop Zeb or Sabine enough. And, oh, by the way, shout out Chopper. I laugh at that scene every time when he knocks that droid off the ship.
yes,
It's so
and
dark,
also
but it's so
just
funny.
like how proud he is of himself when he does it too.
Wah, 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 wah.
Yes, that's another thing. I'm sorry to go off on the show, but like I love it when Chopper does something and he sings like a heroic theme, like da na na na. It's just so funny. I love
He's
Chopper.
got multiple like he's very as much as we love R2, he's very much so personable. Like it's almost like a human you feel like because he's got the
Yes,
arms still.
yes.
You know, yeah.
Again, we could have had all the problems in this show solved if we just given Chopper some guns. uh,
Yeah, it's a good and season 2 I've loved so far. I have
yeah.
loved listen, Alex, some of my favorite moments in
Mhm.
Star Wars, like when Vader, and we'll talk about next week, when Vader senses Ahsoka, he says the apprentice lives and then goes away. And then also when he does the spinning and blows Phoenix Squadron up, I'm like, yeah, that's Vader. That's
Yeah,
Vader.
yeah. I would give season 1 of Rebels. I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
And by the way, shout out Sabine's artistic abilities. They're fantastic. Fantastic
Yes,
artists.
yes, very much
Um,
so.
and I was watching the epilogue again because I was curious about. She has a different look with the armor. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
every season she changes her armor and hair.
I wonder what they do with the armor in her show. It's gonna look cool, or it could look really weird.
Yeah,
Maybe if they go
this
with
is.
just the red. I don't know.
Oh, no. But this is definitely a person I'd like to see in animation. Is the
Daddy
Mandalorian?
Din, Daddy
Yes,
Din, Daddy Din. I
yes.
think
I
we
want
get
to see
Grogu
him
in
become.
animation.
Maybe.
Bad Batch,
No, please no.
dude. You know they wanna. That's
That's
their
how I
that's
know. That's how I know when that show goes to shit is if they bring Grogu in, because that'll
that's their
show like
cash
10
cow.
out of 10 desperation.
That's their cash cow. No, I think it could make sense. Well, whatever. We'll get.
Desperation,
That's gonna be the next Star Wars thing, isn't it?
maybe.
Guys, we're talking about Moon Knight. Oh, did you watch Bad Batch? No, they didn't.
No.
So the next thing I want to talk about the Multiverse of Madness. Alex, I'll get your thoughts first. I didn't realize I watched it after the Super Bowl. I'm like, there's no Multiverse of Madness trailer. Or actually, never mind. That's not true because I did text you because I did see the trailer before the Super Bowl. It was the Moon Knight thing I didn't see because I don't watch commercials during the Super Bowl because I care about the football game itself. Um,
No. Football's
um,
dumb.
and the first thing I texted you, do you remember what it was?
Nope.
The leaks are true. Alex,
Oh yeah.
before we get before we get into that, what did you think about the trailer?
Shit was crazy.
Yeah.
Shit was crazy. Um, I had a discussion with my friend around the time of the trailer when it was out. I think a big problem that this movie already has was the leaks. When you talk about this movie, man, you go into conversation about saying, "Oh, did you hear that? Did you hear that Robert Downey Jr. was confirmed in that interview with Robert Downey Jr. that he's coming back for this movie?" And it's like, okay, what interview was this? Some interview he had like 3 months ago. I was like, if Robert Downey Jr. was confirmed, that would have been a little bit of a big topic of discussion. And I don't think that would have just flown under the radar, because
Right.
that's a big thing with this show or with this movie is the leaks. You can literally say anything. Like, guess what, Drew? Um, Chris Evans is confirmed for the movie. My
I
source, trust me, bro.
yeah, do trust me,
We
bro.
got
Yeah.
it. There's just like you can't do anything, and I think that's kind of the worst thing. I think this movie has some of the worst conversation ever in like
Wow.
cinematic history.
Yeah, there's some bad debates going on TikTok. I don't want to touch on those because they're stupid. Um, but Alex and I have talked about credible leaks here probably for 6 or 7 months now. And I remember we had the conversation about the multiversal Illuminati, and we'll start there first. Alex and I literally talked about that leak where we saw the Ultron bots and Professor X, and I'm like, oh my god, they actually did it! Like, I am surprised, Alex, that this trailer reveals a whole lot. It reveals the Illuminati. It reveals
And the
Professor X.
poster,
Yeah, Captain Carter's shield.
Deadpool.
I think it looks like him.
Yeah, maybe.
So, who do we think's on this team?
On Illuminati?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Superior Iron Man.
I don't know.
I'm
I
gonna
don't know.
take obviously Professor X.
Right.
I'm gonna take Captain Carter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take
Mordo.
Mordo. Sorry, I forgot his name.
Yeah.
Um, Reed Richards. Reed Richards.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I'm stuck. I'm stuck at a crossroads with who this final member is.
Maria
Um,
Rambeau.
Maria, Namor, or a recasted T'Challa.
No, I don't see the last two. Um,
I do. Namor was on the team. T'Challa was on the team in the comics.
I don't think they're gonna do that though,
I don't know why they wouldn't.
because there's 5 chairs and then there's Professor X's wheelchair. So I think it's just 6.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be more just in the background that, or like they
No,
could.
I was saying it's either
Oh,
one of
okay.
those three.
But I was also going to add that there are also quote unquote helpers that help out the Illuminati. So they could be helpers for sure. I don't know about T'Challa because they kind of don't want to recast that character. I know they could say it's a variant, but they kind of that's a sacred character, and I don't think they want
So
that
is
type of
Iron Man.
They don't want that controversy. Yeah, but it for different reasons, right? One's very much a cultural thing with T'Challa, and Iron Man's just Downey basically was a revolutionary for the MCU, but one's more of a cultural thing that had more of a
Yeah,
cultural impact, I think. Um,
I
I'm
get
not
you. I get you.
I'm not devaluing what Downey did for the role and for the MCU as a whole, but it's what I think. Namor, no, because I feel like they want to introduce that character in Black Panther 2. Um, so Professor X, Reed Richards, played by John Krasinski, because we kind of basically see it. We see like a person and then like a crest, but we can't see the four or
Yeah.
anything.
And then Captain Carter is almost confirmed
Captain
because of the
Carter for
poster,
sure.
and you can definitely see a person with long dark hair. So
So excited. So excited to see Captain Carter in live action.
Mm.
Mordo, because we see him walking in the background with the sword, and he's the one who takes in Strange, who arrests Strange. Maria, I think
Maybe,
it's I think it's the actress who plays Maria, but she's gonna play a Monica Rambeau variant
maybe, maybe.
because Monica was originally I don't know. Things changed though. I, people zoomed in on that picture, and I guess it's not Superior Iron Man.
No, you can definitely tell it's a person of color and a female person of color.
It just looks
Um,
really in that TV spot. It just looks like a dude with a mustache. It really does.
yeah, and then I don't know. It's to me, I think we're gonna see Tom Cruise as Iron Man. I mean,
Which, by the way, I'm
come
all
on,
down for. I'm all down for a
yes.
Superior Iron Man. It looks so
Now,
good. Like
granted, do I
the
think he's
art.
gonna survive? No,
Nah,
but still, I
I think I think Black Bolt will be a helper,
maybe.
and I think Baldur the Brave, which everyone's talked about, the Asgardian Baldur the Brave. I don't know what his relationship to Thor is. Again, is he a cousin or a brother or something like that? Uh,
Something.
he'll be a helper, but they're all gonna bite the bullet
Yeah,
because Crazy is basically confirmed to be the villain, Wanda Maximoff.
yeah.
Um, by the way, that's not a zombie. That's her with blood, and that's her
That's
being
her.
corrupted.
Yeah. I think here's the thing is what we're gonna see. We're gonna see like 5 total variants of Strange, including MCU Strange. Um, and we're gonna see probably 2 variants of Wanda.
What do you think the
Uh,
variants of Strange are?
so we have MCU Strange,
Yep.
Sinister Strange, Defender Strange.
Which one is that? Is Sinister one that we see at the end?
Sinister Sinister is the one that says things just got out of hand.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, yeah, yep.
And then we see Defender Strange. We see like Zombie Strange at the end.
I think
He's like,
that's Defender Strange being corrupted because there's a shot of Defender Strange falling through
well,
something, and he has an eye cut out just like
well, I don't
that
know because
something.
we also see Defender Strange falling through like one of the star portals, and he looks kind of dead.
Right.
So, because his face is all like bloodied up and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's 4. Of course, we've seen Supreme Strange. Who was the other one? There was
Are you
another
talking
one.
about the one that looks like it has like 8 hands at the end of the TV spot?
Yeah, that's Zombie Strange that I'm referencing.
Okay.
And of course, we've seen Zombie Strange and What If.
Right.
Um, there was another Strange in the trailer somewhere. I'm pretty sure.
But there's definitely 2 Wandas, so I don't know how that's gonna play.
I think what's gonna happen is she is going to go to a multiverse where her kids are alive, and she's gonna go to a Wanda that never lowered the hex, and then they're gonna fight, and
Okay.
then that could resort in the death of her kids,
Okay.
something like that, maybe. I do think, however, I think we're gonna see potentially Wanda try to reopen the hex, and it's gonna fail, and it's not gonna be how she remembered it.
Okay. I could see that. So my thing is like something has to happen with the Illuminati. Okay, so Strange and Chavez are arrested by the Illuminati, it looks like, because it looks like Chavez is in a box with Strange. So they're probably pissed that Chavez is basically multiversal hopping, probably because
Mm.
Wanda is after American Chavez, right? Because Chavez is able to travel through multiverses. And that's why I really feel like that one of the opening scenes of that movie has got to be the fight with Gargantos or Shumagorath or whatever you want to call the
And I
tentacle
think
beings.
that's how Chavez and Strange meet.
Right. Um, and then we get the craziness, and obviously Strange doesn't know how this multiverse stuff is happening because he doesn't remember the events of No Way Home, or he doesn't remember
Yeah.
Peter. So,
Mm,
do you think he did some monkey business?
I think he definitely did something where he remembers. Because the thing that you need to remember is that he's
It would
told like,
totally be a
oh,
Doctor Strange move to do it.
yeah, because we also have to remember he's told like, oh, I did what I had to, um, for the survival of our people, and it's like, well,
Right.
what did you do? What did you do? Because my thing is, if they have a problem with him using the time stone to look forward into 14,605 possibilities, why didn't they do anything when he did it, or when he
Right.
came back,
Right.
or when
So
he used the time stone in, I think, Hong Kong in Doctor Strange, or when he used it to fight Dormammu? Which, by
right.
the way, Where's Dormammu at? Why is he not in this movie?
Eh. And the other weird thing is like, is it just gonna be the Mordo variant, or is like the actual Mordo that like you set up in the end credit scene just not gonna show up? It's not gonna be a thing in this movie. Like you
I
clearly
don't
set
know.
up the actual Mordo, killing all sorcerers. By the way, I don't think Juan makes it. I don't
I
think
don't know
Juan's gonna make
either.
it. I don't think
The
Juan's gonna
trailers
make
are
it.
setting him up to die way too much.
Um,
Hey,
and
look,
my thing is,
let me just say this, okay? Wong is the technical sorcerer supreme. If you're gonna let Billy and Tommy live, go ahead and bring me a fully powered up Wiccan and let him be the sorcerer supreme, and I'm fine.
okay.
Then we can shake hands and have a deal.
I really think though this movie ends basically. I think Wanda like basically kills everyone. Like I
No, I think I don't think she'll kill everyone. I think she'll
oh
kill
I
every member of the Illuminati, though.
oh
I think,
100%. 100%. That shot that we see of her is like her corrupted and her with like blood like
yeah,
she's gonna kill everybody in the Illuminati. And I really think that an interesting thing that they could do is and just from a power perspective. So we know how powerful He Who Remains was. Wasn't physically powerful, but was controlling everything.
yeah,
Kane's gonna be brutal. What I would really love is we establish Wanda as the big villain. Like everyone thinks she's the big villain, and everybody, the casual itself, kind of forgets about Kane. But then when you introduce Kane, you have Kane Killer, and then that's how you establish he's the top,
yeah,
he's the king. Because if Wanda's a villain, I don't want them to repeat the same story. Well, she becomes a good guy again and like joins up with Strange and stuff because we already did that. That was her arc from Ultron to that was her arc in Age of Ultron. I don't want them to
mm,
do the thing like if she's a villain, keep her as a villain because she is a compelling villain, right? She's a very compelling villain, and
yeah,
that's where her story more resonates. Like it's she's done a lot of bad things, like more
yeah.
bad than good,
I think what a lot of Wanda stands need to remember is this girl was not introduced as a good person. She was a Nazi.
right?
Like she was a straight up just Nazi.
Right. Yeah, and she's very much the same has the same story to Anakin, right? She very much falls into the ideas of
Yeah.
attachment, like obsessive attachment, right? To the point where she would warp reality. It's really
Mm-hmm.
odd because, like in the Star Wars community, you'll have discussions about Anakin's problems, right? He's not who he's supposed to look up to. Um, Neither is Wanda, obviously, because she's what obsession is obsessive attachment to
Mm-hmm.
Vision, which is a bad thing, and that's what leads her down this dark path. And then, like,
Yeah.
the most sinister line she has is like, "You use your powers, and you become a hero. I use them, and I'm the villain." Well, exactly, because even though Strange's actions were very dangerous, they've always usually had a positive outcome.
Yeah. It's a thing that like because I think we should talk about the whole conversation around that line. Um, because it's easily my favorite and least favorite line from the trailer.
Right.
The conversation that has had is so bad. And I'm sorry if you are defending Wanda and saying, "Yeah, yeah, that's so true." That no, then you completely miss the point of Wanda's character. Because it's like you said, Drew, you're not supposed to agree with what she does. Because I
Right.
think the difference is if we take some of the biggest moments from Strange and the biggest moment from Wanda,
By the way,
Wanda
I
creating the
want to add
hex.
this.
Oh, yeah.
I want to add this before you go. I'm a Loki fan, right?
Mhm.
Loki, and I like what they've done with his character, but like, I'm not gonna sit here and say, yeah, Loki's a good person. Yeah, yeah. He just tried to take over
Yeah.
New York and like tried to kill his brother numerous. Like, no, Loki's not a good person. I think his
Yeah.
character's interesting. You can like the character of Wanda itself, and I do myself. I think she's very compelling, and I love the way they're taking her as a
Mhm.
villain.
Yeah.
Um, but let's not defend the actions of the character. It's very odd.
No.
It's just very
It's
odd.
one of those things that it's just like, again, if we take the thing of her creating the hex, and you take Strange using the rings of Kafkal to gaslight society into forgetting who Peter Parker is, and his initial to make people forget who Spider-Man is, or make people forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. You got to compare those two or those three occurrences, and they're just so wildly different. And you can
Right.
take the first one with Peter Parker, people forgetting Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and the Westview Hex. Yes, both of them were the Westview Hex was made on accident. Wanda didn't know how Wanda didn't know that how to do it. She just did it by mistake.
Right.
And the rings of Kafkal that Strange does, those were on purpose. He intentionally did it.
Yep.
However, if you compare what happens or
The
what the
outcomes.
intent was, Strange did it because he wanted to help not only a friend, he wanted to help an innocent teenager who was framed for murder
Right.
and who was innocent. And basically Peter goes to him saying that he doesn't care that he's being affected by it. He cares that other people were affected by it in negative
Right.
ways. Wanda knowingly created the hex, and then after she was asked how she did it, she asked if Pietro agreed with what she was doing, and of course, Pietro asked or said like, "Oh, he didn't care. He thought it was cool." She continued going. She was
Right.
aware of her actions, and she wanted to keep going because
Right.
it was selfish. She was gaining something. She not only had her kids, but she also had her husband.
Yep.
And so to me, my thing is if you're going to defend Wanda, maybe let's not defend her enslaving a whole town. Cuz
Right.
I think if you compare enslaving an entire town of people compared to gaslighting people to save a teenager's life and the people around his life, so different. Yes,
So very different.
what Strange did was stupid because it ended up being the catalyst for opening the multiverse.
Yep.
Cool. But Wanda also took a part in creating one of the biggest Nexus events and creating the Hex and becoming the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. Right.
So it's like,
Yeah.
yes, both were bad. Both did bad things, but the intent was so different. And it's like if you're gonna use this argument of intent for other arguments of the MCU, then you gotta use them for this here too. Because in my opinion, Wanda is one of the most undefendable people of all time.
Right. Yeah. Just a really interesting discussion, but I'm excited. We definitely get a
Hmm.
showdown between Wanda and Strange. I
Almost
think
certainly.
I think Wanda wins.
Yeah. I think here's my thing also is like, that little thing when Strange approaches her and he's like, what do you know about the multiverse?
Right.
We see the two potentially different perspectives of, oh, it's a nice little white tree farm, and she's cutting the branches for some reason with wire cutters. Okay. Um, and then we see the other one. It's like a hellish red, and she's complaining about how things don't seem fair. I I initially thought that stuff at the "What do you know about the multiverse" stuff happened at the beginning of the movie, and the stuff about being the bad guy is at the end of the movie. But now I genuinely think they're like they're during the same time.
Do you think Wanda is using the Darkhold's magic then to trick
Oh
Strange?
yeah, we see
Yeah.
the Darkhold in the trailer. We see Strange playing with chaos magic,
Yeah.
which
You
I
think
don't
so? Do you
know.
think he gets it from Wanda somehow?
I don't think he gets the power. I think he can observe the power
Okay.
because Wanda's been using it. So
So yeah. Yeah. So yeah. What do you think is up with the Illuminati? Why do you think they go after Strange and Chavez?
probably because they're just like, yo, Strange, what the fuck? You open the multiverse and then you want to go explore it now?
Right.
What are you gonna do next? Open this up to DC?
Um, that's definitely a reasonable explanation. Now, Do you think that location is outside of time, like the TVA?
Yeah. There
Yeah.
was a good theory that I don't remember who said it. It might have been on TikTok or it might have been on YouTube. That Kang was a member of the Illuminati, or He Who Remains was a member of the Illuminati, and then he was essentially banished out, and then he went off and did his own thing.
That's fair. That's fair. Um, so I bet you their whole job is to capture dangerous figures to the multiverse. I bet you that when Stewart says that line, let's tell him the truth. Uh,
Hmm.
they got to figure out that it's not Strange's fault. That it's Wanda, and that's when the whole Wanda and the Illuminati thing happens, and then
Yeah,
it's gonna be a crazy film, man. Like we
yeah,
got a cartoon world. We got
yeah. My
cartoon world, man.
my thing is like, you know, are we gonna see like who are we gonna see in this movie? Like we know we're gonna see some of the Illuminati. You know, we have some confirmed people like Professor X, Wanda, Strange, Chavez, Wong, so on and so forth. But like, are we gonna
Deadpool,
see some X-Men? Are we gonna see some Deadpool? Are
some
we gonna
Deadpool.
see some Fantastic Four? Are we gonna potentially, you
See a
know,
Spider Man? We gonna see
see
a Spider
see
Man
see some spiders? Are we potentially gonna see not Tom Holland but Toby Maguire
or Andrew Garfield?
or Andrew Garfield? Are we
Are we gonna
are
see a
we
Tom Hiddleston?
are we gonna see are we gonna see some Sophia Di Martino?
I
Are we
don't
gonna
know.
see are we gonna see some Jonathan Majors?
Oh, I'd love a little cane tease. I'd love a little cane tease. By the way, what do you think? I know it's very, very far away. What do you think the end credit scene is gonna be?
Ooh, I think either teasing for Kang or something. Because this is what I was also talking about with my friends. Is after Kang, where do you go? Who do you
Probably
go?
Galactus or Doom.
My thing is, I feel like when you go towards Galactus or you go towards Doom, that feels like the end.
Maybe it is.
No, because you got to think there's so many people we're missing from like MCU villains. Again, we're missing Doom, we're missing Mephisto, we're missing Galactus, we're missing Chthon. We're missing so many people right now.
Yeah,
It's just
we are.
like, could
And a
we
lot of mystical
really?
ones too. Like a lot of
Yes,
mystical, like
a lot of very
Galactus.
powerful ones too.
Well, listen. I should rephrase that. I shouldn't say that it's gonna be the end, but I also don't want like 15 years, 20 years worth of movies. I know that sounds selfish of me, but like,
No, I would watch all of them all
no,
over
I probably
again.
will. I probably will. But like, at some point, wouldn't you want it to stop?
Yeah, but
All good things
maybe.
must come to an end, right? I feel like an
Yeah,
end
in like
point's
40
beautiful.
years. Um,
Okay.
let me ask you this because this is
Disney Plus
another
Plus 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 Plus, where
yes.
you're paying
Yes.
$75 a month. Yeah.
This is my big thing. Do you think that this movie could lead us to Avengers Secret Wars?
Oh, 100%. I feel like
I
this
think
is like the big setup to
yeah, because I
event.
know
Yeah.
you must have seen the Avengers Kang's Dynasty fan art and whatnot.
Yes, I have.
And it's like, no, that doesn't. First of all, that'd be a shitty movie title.
Right.
And that's a shitty poster because it's just the Infinity War poster remade. Um, it's like, could you imagine if Secret Wars is the next Avengers movie?
I think that'd be nuts.
It's like we can bring because like through Secret Wars we get Miles Morales into the main comics timeline. We get a few other people. I'm pretty
I think
sure
that's how we'll
also.
also get uh Tom with the symbiote.
Yes. I don't know because um I
And
think
if
what
they
they're
want to go
probably gonna
crazy,
do.
they
Oh
want to go
yeah,
crazy. They could bring Robert and Chris back. Put the uniforms on again. Here's a check. I wouldn't want that, but like they could do
no,
that.
I think that could also be how we open up the Sony and Marvel verse up more. But you could
Yep.
always just say that these Sony movies take place in the MCU.
Yep.
You could easily merge the Venomverse into the MCU and say
Through
that
Secret Wars. Through Secret
yeah,
Wars, you're saying? Yeah.
yeah, you could bring Venom in and all that.
Craven, Morbius, and that's how you can do
Yeah,
your Sinister Six. Yeah.
yeah. And that's how we can get a proper MCU. And what's even better than that is we could even potentially bring in Andrew Garfield as the new main MCU Spider-Man
If you wanted to, yeah. Miles, like
because
you said.
Tom has said that he wants to take a break from the character. He wants to go start a family. Um, some cute babies with Zendaya, hopefully. Um, and Andrew obviously wants to keep playing Peter Parker.
I think Toby does, honestly, too. I think I don't know if Toby wants it as much as Andrew, but Toby is definitely like if he is approached, definitely
Yeah.
do it.
But like, I think that's how we could do it. Because again, I think me and you have agreed. I think Tom is too young right now to have a Miles Morales and as his little sidekick to eventually
Right.
become the new Spider-Man heir. I
Yep.
think Toby's too old for it. I think Andrew's right at that perfect age where it's
Yep.
like, yeah, it would make sense for him to finally take some or have someone come in as Miles.
Yep.
Um, so that's just something to me. I think the obvious direction from here, and I think you know how we used to have because we don't get this shit anymore. I think the last time we seen this was Eternals, and that is like the Spider-Man will return, or Thor will like something like that. And I think we could easily see Doctor Strange will return in Avengers: Secret Wars.
Yeah. We'll see when their next appearances are going to be, but I think this almost. I try to think of the big trilogy right now of variant movies, setting up the idea of variants. I feel like right now the big projects in Phase 4, Loki, right? Loki is like the catalyst for all of that. Well, you could say Infinity War and Endgame, the time heist screwed everything up. But
No,
Loki,
yeah, WandaVision. Got to give credit where credit's
you could
due.
throw WandaVision, yeah. Spider-Man No Way Home's the big
Oh
start,
yeah,
like the big kicker.
that
Like
was
Loki
that
and
was the
WandaVision, the teaser.
multiverse.
This is craziness, Multiverse of Madness.
Mhm.
And then Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is going to set up with your villain. Now, Kane won't be the main villain of that. That's going to be MODOK. But
Oh, so excited for Modoc.
Kane's going to I wouldn't be surprised if Kane came in at the end of the movie and murdered the Pym family. If I'm gonna be honest with you, besides
Maybe.
besides besides Ant Man, but that's his setup. And that little
Yeah.
city we see at the end of Ant Man and the Wasp, a little metropolis in the quantum realm.
Metropolis. What is
Is it
this? DC?
Metropolis? No, oh shit. What is it
No,
called?
that's something.
It starts with a K,
Not
doesn't it?
not Metropolis.
I would start. I think it's Catropolis. No, it's not Catropolis for sure. It starts with a K. I thought whatever. I thought it was an opolis at the end. I don't know.
Cannot believe you just said
I
that.
can't believe I said.
The shame
Uh,
that I feel right now is unimaginable right now.
um, but yeah, that's all I gotta say, man. I think that's gonna be the
Yeah.
big setup, and then we'll get some more stuff, and then in 2025, 2026, we'll get Secret Wars, hopefully directed by Joe Russo
I
and
just
Anthony Russo.
to me right now, the MCU feels so vast. It feels like, oh my gosh, it can literally go anywhere from here, but it also kind of feels like, but where is it gonna go? Where do you go from
Right.
this?
Well, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good and a bad thing, you know. Because I feel like right now, I feel like the only clear and easy thing to do is Secret Wars. This is literally a miniature Secret Wars event
Yeah,
happening right now.
100%. Yeah,
And I
100%.
mean, you got to think, Multiverse of Madness is almost certainly not only miniature Secret Wars, it's a variation of House of M. Uh, so it's like, come on now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
There's just
100%.
there's a lot going on right now, man. The
It's
MCU is
it's exciting.
vast.
It's really
It
exciting.
is. It is. You just want to know what happens next. It's the first time I really want to know what the rumors are saying for the next Avengers movie. I doubt there are any. I doubt they've even started
No.
writing one yet.
Nope, but they do have an idea. I'm pretty sure they do have an idea of what they want to do. So, I'm really excited, Alex, man. It's going to be such a fun time. It's a fun
Yeah.
time to be a fan in general, but
Except a
let's
Bad Batch.
oh, Jesus. Let's finally move into The Book of Boba Fett reportedly had a 36% higher viewership than the Mandalorian. Wow, the Mandalorian
Wow.
season 2
Jeez.
closer. By the way, shot. Absolute shot.
I know. I'll be right
Yeah.
back.
Okay. I'm gonna introduce this topic first off. So basically, this is Samba TV. They ran the numbers from Wednesday to Sunday. It's 36% higher. So there's a couple things to unpack here, right? The Mandalorian released on a Friday, their season finale. So it had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday were its weekend or weekday days. So uh, Book of Boba Fett was Wednesday and Thursday later in the week. I don't know if that factors in. But also, when you account for subscribers, obviously there were more subscribers on the platform for Book of Boba Fett. It still outperformed the Mandalorian season 2. It was actually the best finale, I think. Uh, and they say at the end here, the momentum and excitement for the first season of the Book of Boba Fett carried over to the finale. Uh, it, it was they did a good job of keeping viewers engaged. They said with the show, and that's surprising because the hardcore fan, such as Alex and I, we watched the whole entire show, but we definitely had a fair amount of criticisms. Alex, I want to ask you first, what do you think of this? Do you think this is
Dude.
because of the Mandalorian? And then secondly, do you think this definitely means we get a season 2 now?
Well, I'll answer that last question. Yes, I think we're going to get a season 2. But I also think, yes, this is almost certainly because of Luke and The Mandalorian and their inclusion in this show. I'm sorry, but this show, after episode 4, just decided that Boba wasn't cool enough to be the main character of the show anymore. And so people definitely were not in tune for the Boba Fett aspect. And also, we got to take into account the Cad Bane cameo at the end of the previous episode. So, I think the
Well,
problem is
yeah.
that this episode was so highly viewed because people thought, oh, Luke was going to be in it, Cad Bane was going to be in it, The Mandalorian was going to be in it, Ahsoka was going to be in it, Thrawn was going to be in it, Batman was going to be in it, Iron Man was going to be in it, I was going to be in it. It's like the expectations, bro, were massive. Were massive.
Um, yeah, the expectations were definitely massive for this show. Um, but my thing with it is like Alex from Star Wars Explained said this, but maybe Boba is just better as a side character, and it really got me thinking. And I'm like, yeah, I think he is. I don't think he can carry
Yeah,
his own show as a character. I think he arced out. I think he arced out after 4 episodes. You kind of set
I
up his
agree.
backstory, and then he's like the daimyo, and now he needs to take over and protect Mos Espa. Where does a Boba Fett season 2 go? I mean, I would love to see him carry this to the criminal underworld and have more criminal underworld aspects. I'd love to see a Coruscant. I'd love to see a Nar Shaddaa. I'd love to see an Al Hutta. But besides that, what else do you like from a character perspective, Alex? How does he grow? Like, I guess you could still have him struggle, right? Because he does kill Cad Bane. He's still a cold blooded killer. Um, but like, how do you like juggle him, like, not being able to kill people, but at the same time wanting to keep the aspect that he is Boba Fett and he should still snap at some points?
Yeah,
Um, it's just a very weird thing to me. Like, I love that the viewership is up, and it tells me that people are invested in the Filoni verse, invested in this Mandalorian universe, and that they
of
really
course.
like they really like the character of Mando and even Boba. I think. So there are some factors there, but I think I joggled back and forth. I think it does get a season 2, but do I really want it, Alex? Do I really want it? Because I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think here's my problem is um my thing is like I said this when the show I think in our finale episode is why couldn't this have just been the Mandalorian season 3 opening? Make it a long season and have this be how we get introduced into Din. Now yes, would it have made sense entirely for the Mandalorian to be introduced into the 5th episode of his show? No. But it also didn't make sense for Boba Fett to become a side character in his show.
For 2 episodes.
Yeah, I would even argue the finale.
Well, he did
He
have
had his he
moments,
had his moments.
but it did focus on Din quite a bit, and Grogu, like a little bit,
Yeah.
for sure.
So I would say like uh definitely like don't think this show needs a season two. And I think if you're gonna give it a season two, you might as well just put that in either the season 4 of The Mandalorian or season 3. Because my thing is like I don't think that this show needed to be made. It's kind of like how I feel about Solo. I didn't need that to be made. I was happy that it was made.
You like it, but it's like,
Yeah.
what was the purpose of this? Like, I get that because the Boba Fett I like, I don't love. I
Yeah.
talk about this in my review of the whole season on TikTok. Like, when I look at the Boba episodes, those 5 episodes, they're around like an 8 for me combined when I combine them all up. I mean, I like them, but like, how does it? So my thing is like, I love the Mandalorian season 1. It got me back into Star Wars, but I know why that was made. There was also an endpoint that's set up more with the dark saber. Like, we got Din's character established, like he was protecting this kid, and then there was a new objective. What is Boba's new objective now? He's just like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. And Fennec's like, yeah, well, someone's got to do it. So they still got to be the daimyo, but like, I feel like Favreau and Filoni still don't know where they want to take this character themselves.
Yeah.
It feels very weird to me, Alex. Like, I feel like
Yeah, and
sometimes they don't know what they want to do with the character themselves.
yeah, and I'll say that too. Like that whole thing at the end really bugged me. That was like, oh, I don't think we're cut out to do this. Okay, so then first of all, why'd you do it in the first place? We're
Right.
never told why he does it.
No.
Um, but then you're just gonna really build it up that like, oh, I don't know why we did this, but we did.
I mean, I think they do tell, like, Boba talks about in episode 4, the flashback. I'm sick and tired of people like us die into idiots. Um, so I feel like that's the reason he did it, but it's poorly done. I guess you could make
mm.
that argument. I
Well,
think it does get.
to
Yeah, go
me,
ahead.
my thing is like, okay, if you want to make that the argument that, oh, he doesn't want to be working for people who, who unnecessarily almost get him killed, that's fine. But like, why isn't that more explicitly shown in more episodes? Because he doesn't really talk about it much. He doesn't
And
talk about why he
yeah,
wants to do what he does.
as it is, there's not a lot of stuff with Boba in the present day Mandoverse. Like, most of his episodes are flashbacks.
Yeah.
Which I love the flashback stuff. Don't get me wrong; it's probably one of the better aspects of the show. But like,
Mm.
it doesn't progress the Mandoverse forward. It's kind of like, oh, here's Boba. This is Boba. What I thought they were gonna do is they were, leading towards Thrawn. I thought they were gonna have, because we're gonna need a lot of factions to fight against Thrawn. I really thought they
Mm.
were gonna go the route. And again, this is my expectation. So like, maybe it did affect the show a little bit for me because it didn't live up to what I thought. But I don't think it really affected it that much or really at all. But I really think or hope that they go the route that Boba becomes the leader of the criminal underworld
Mm.
and he uses his faction to help against Thrawn. That's how
Yeah.
it really should be. Because, like,
Because
what is Boba gonna do now? He has eight
yeah.
eight people, 8 people to fight against Thrawn when that eventually comes.
Yeah. My thing was the reason why I think this deserved to be in the Mandalorian season 3 is because you could start it off with what we have now, okay, um, and cool, and then what you could have is you could then end this episode, the finale, or what would have been the finale of the show. You could easily been like, hey, in time, I would appreciate your help to reclaim Mandalore with
Right.
the Mandalorians. We could really use someone like you out there to help us. Bam, right there, easy setup to bring him in. But from where I'm at now, he doesn't know what he wants. He doesn't know why he's daimyo. Apart from I don't want people to keep hiring me for jobs that I'm gonna die at, even though it's always technically my fault that I'm still going for these jobs. Um, so it's just like, to me, a smoother transition would have been, oh, I'm gonna scratch your back and you're gonna scratch my back, and now we're gonna go help each other reclaim Mandalore,
Right.
and then just
Right.
like that. And I think that's what's gonna happen. I think that's still gonna happen, where he's gonna be like, hey, I helped you out, and I would appreciate some help now towards reclaiming Mandalore.
Yeah, I still think the best iteration of the character we've gotten is Mandalorian season 2
Yeah,
because it's enough of him as a side character, but it's not too. I just feel like that he's works best as a side character. Maybe he wasn't worth a show. I feel terrible saying that because I love Tamora Morrison and I love Fennec Shan, but what did you do with her?
yeah.
What did you do with her? What was her
She
character?
was she was just kind of there.
She was the same thing, an assassin. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
great at him. We've seen it. Maybe do something. Maybe with the season 2 you could explore that. Hopefully, but like it's like,
maybe.
why didn't you do that stuff in season 1? It's almost like I don't know. It was a weird show, and it's kind of a little bit upsetting to me. It doesn't make me worried about the Filoni verse because it's. I mean, Book of Boba is by the same people who did Mandalorian season 2,
Mhm.
and season 1. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, the viewership numbers do tell me it will get a season 2.
Yeah,
Uh, but hopefully a lot more Boba and a better villain, maybe, because the Pikes were kind of boring. They brought in Cat Bane
yeah.
that I liked. Maybe a better villain.
I will say, like,
I'd like the Huts. Like the Huts would be
may
much cooler.
maybe this sounds bad, but like I felt kind of baited with the villains of the show. I felt like it was
What were the
definitely
point of the
feeling,
Huts?
yeah,
Like, what was the point of them?
it felt like they were setting up Crimson Dawn to come in, and then they weren't setting up Crimson Dawn all of a sudden. It kind of just felt like, okay, well, there's actually someone bigger than uh, the Pikes. And then it
Right.
turned out, no, no, there wasn't. It was just the Pikes. I feel like that post credit scene wasn't good either. Like, that could have set up a good season too.
Yeah, the post-credit scene tells us something we could have theorized. Which, by the way,
Yeah.
it could be set up the fact that Cobb Vanth is now the leader of Rangers, but that's more speculation than it is
No,
directly
I
said.
think honestly, I think they're going to
Make him the daimyo
make him the daimyo,
and just have
which is,
Boba go out
yeah.
with Din. That would be
I
nice.
it's I love saying that word so much now. I just love saying
Daimyo.
daimyo, just
Daimyo.
because it was clear that when they were writing the show, they were like, yeah, maybe we should give him this thing where it's like, or give Boba this character where I'm going to, become the daimyo of our people. But they're like, oh, but we want to make him a crime lord. But then they're like, but he doesn't do anything crime lordy.
He doesn't do
Well, fuck
crime.
it then. He's what is that word you called him? Domino? No, a daimyo. Yep, that's his new nickname, the daimyo. Okay then.
um, yeah.
Boba
Well,
Fett, the domino of Tatooine.
so that's all I got, Alex. You got anything else?
No,
I mean,
not
great
really.
show as always. Fun discussion. We'll talk
Yeah,
about Rebel season 2 next week. We'll talk about some other things, and then 2 weeks from now, Alex and I will be previewing the Batman. I'm super excited.
Batman.
Uh, Battinson, baby. So we're gonna get off here. We're gonna sign off for now. As always, may the force be with you, and may you stay burdened with. Say it, Alex.
The
Say
domino of Tatooine.
it. May you stay burdened with glorious purpose as always. See you later. Peace out, everyone.
The domino of